When you think of pennies, you probably think of small change, right? Well, some of the rarest Lincoln pennies have become incredibly valuable, far beyond what you could ever imagine. Let's explore which 1-cent Lincoln pennies have turned into true treasures. Welcome back. If you're a coin collector, you're in for a treat as we uncover how these simple coins became worth so much more. Watch till the end to find out which ones are worth a fortune. In 2015, an unassuming coin made its way into circulation that would go on to become a hidden gem for collectors and numismatists alike. The 2015 United States 1-cent penny, with a mint mark, has become a sought-after piece in the world of coin collecting. But what makes this penny so special, and why is it worth far more than its face value today? Let's dive deep into the story of this small but mighty coin and uncover how it earned its remarkable reputation and value. To understand the significance of the 2015 1-cent penny, we need to go back a little further into history. The United States penny has a long and storied legacy, one that dates back to the early days of the nation. The penny has been a part of American currency since 1793, and throughout the years, it has undergone several design changes, with each era reflecting the cultural and historical landscape of the time. However, by 2015, the penny had already evolved into a modern symbol of the nation's economy. Yet, the year 2015 is especially notable for certain changes in the way pennies were minted, making this particular coin more significant than one might first assume. The 2015 penny marked a special year for the U.S. Mint. While the overall design of the penny hadn't changed since the introduction of the Lincoln Memorial design in 1959, there was a major shift in how the mint operated. This was the year the U.S. Mint began using a new, slightly different approach in the production of these coins, particularly in the use of mint marks, which would go on to be a defining feature of the 2015 pennies. The heart of this coin's appeal is its design. The front of the penny features the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln, created by sculptor Victor David Brenner. The portrait has remained unchanged since its debut in 1909, and it's a design that resonates deeply with American history. The reverse side of the penny, however, is where things get a bit more interesting. From 1959 until 2008, the reverse of the penny showcased the Lincoln Memorial, a tribute to one of America's most revered presidents. But in 2009, the penny underwent a dramatic redesign to mark the bicentennial of Lincoln's birth. The reverse of the coin was altered to feature a series of 4 different designs, all celebrating Lincoln's legacy. For instance, one featured the log cabin where Lincoln was born, another depicted him as a young lawyer, and yet another showed Lincoln giving his famous Gettysburg Address. By 2015, the U.S. Mint had settled into a more standardized approach to the penny's reverse, showing the familiar shield design that had first been introduced in 2010. The shield design symbolizes the nation's strength and unity, a fitting image for a country that has weathered its fair share of challenges throughout history. However, the design isn't the only thing that sets this particular penny apart. In fact, it's the minting process itself that plays a key role in its rarity and value. The U.S. Mint operates multiple facilities across the country, each of which uses its own mint mark to identify the coins it produces. The mint marks are small letters, often located beneath the date, which signify where the coin was minted. The 2 most well-known mint marks are the D for the Denver Mint and the P for the Philadelphia Mint. Occasionally, a penny will feature an S for the San Francisco Mint. In 2015, the U.S. Mint produced pennies at the Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco Mints. However, one specific minting error at the Denver Mint led to a fascinating phenomenon: the creation of a small number of pennies that were struck with an unusual defect. These defective pennies had a particular characteristic that caught the attention of collectors. A minting error resulted in some of these pennies being misstruck, causing a slight difference in the design details. While the vast majority of 2015 pennies were perfectly struck, these few misstruck coins were an anomaly. Such errors happen from time to time at mints around the world, but they are often incredibly rare, and it's these rare coins that become highly desirable to collectors. In the case of the 2015 penny, the misstruck coins from the Denver Mint became incredibly valuable for those who managed to find them. To the untrained eye, these misstruck pennies might seem like simple imperfections, but for seasoned collectors, they were seen as opportunities to add something unique to their collections. The rarity of the misstruck coins combined with the fact that they were from a popular series, the Lincoln Cent, only added to their appeal. However, the real excitement surrounding the 2015 penny comes down to the sheer demand for it among collectors. In the world of coin collecting, demand is everything. Coins that are rare, particularly those with a unique history, tend to see their value skyrocket. The 2015 penny, with its minting errors and subtle variations, caught the attention of both novice and experienced collectors who were eager to find out more about this anomaly and add it to their collections. The penny's appeal didn't just lie in the minting process. Its historical context also played a significant role. After all, it was a coin produced during a time when many were questioning the future of the penny itself. The debate over whether to eliminate the penny from circulation has been ongoing for years, with some arguing that the cost of production far exceeds the coin's face value. Yet, despite the ongoing debate, the penny remains a beloved part of American currency, and this 2015 penny, with its unique traits, encapsulates both the charm and the challenges of a changing financial landscape. Now, the true value of the 2015 penny lies not only in its rarity or design but in the demand it has generated among collectors. The unique minting error, combined with the scarcity of these coins, has made them highly sought after. In fact, some of these pennies are now fetching extraordinary amounts at auction, with prices reaching up to $18,000. This stunning price tag is a testament to the rarity of the misstruck coins and the demand from collectors who recognize the true value of this small but mighty coin. While not every 2015 penny is worth such an astronomical amount, the few that exhibit the minting error are considered highly valuable pieces of numismatic history. So, what does all of this mean for you, the viewer? If you happen to have a 2015 penny lying around, it's worth taking a closer look. Check for any signs of minting errors or unusual characteristics. While not every 2015 penny will be worth thousands of dollars, it's always worth investigating if you have one that stands out from the rest. You never know, you might just have a hidden treasure in your pocket. The 1994 USA 1-cent penny. It may seem like an ordinary piece of currency at first glance, just another coin that's part of the everyday change you might find in your pocket or purse. However, what many people don't realize is that this particular penny is far from ordinary. In fact, it's a coin that, due to its rarity, historical context, and unique characteristics, has earned the admiration and interest of coin collectors around the world. To understand why this penny is so special, we need to start by going back in time a bit. The history of the penny, and specifically the 1994 penny, starts in the late 19th century. The penny, also known as the 1-cent coin, has a long legacy in the United States, and its design has gone through numerous changes over the years. It was first introduced in 1793, and since then, it's been a part of American life for centuries. But it wasn't until 1909 that the iconic Lincoln cent was introduced, a design that would endure for over a century. The image of Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States, became permanently etched on the face of the coin, forever linking the penny with one of the country's most revered figures. Over the years, various versions of the penny have been minted, but the 1994 penny stands out for reasons that go beyond just its design. This penny, minted during a time of economic and cultural transition in the United States, is tied to a specific set of circumstances and a particular set of minting details that make it highly sought after by collectors today. Before we dive into the specifics of the 1994 penny, let's take a moment to look at the design of the penny itself. For decades, the Lincoln cent design featured an image of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, or front, of the coin. On the reverse side, there was a depiction of the Lincoln Memorial, a symbol of national pride and a tribute to the president's legacy. This design had been in circulation since 1959, and it would continue to appear on the penny until 2009, when the United States Mint decided to release a series of special designs to celebrate the 100th anniversary of the Lincoln cent. The 1994 penny, however, featured the familiar design with Lincoln's image on the front and the Lincoln Memorial on the back. It may not have been a particularly striking or unique design compared to other years, but what set the 1994 penny apart was its rarity and the unusual circumstances surrounding its production. In 1994, the U.S. Mint had been making pennies for over a century, and there were millions of these coins produced every year. However, 1994 was different in one key way. It was the year that a small number of pennies were struck with a significant error that would go on to make these coins highly valuable. These pennies, which were originally intended to be part of a normal production run, were accidentally minted with a rare mistake, one that would turn them into a collector's dream. This mistake wasn't immediately noticed by the mint, but over time, as coin collectors started to examine these pennies more closely, they began to realize that something wasn't quite right. The mistake that occurred in 1994 was a slight but significant error in the way the coins were struck. Due to a problem with the dies used to mint the pennies, a small number of them were produced with a noticeable flaw. The most common error involved the presence of a double die, which meant that the coin had two distinct impressions of certain elements, such as the date or part of the lettering, giving the penny a double appearance. This error was particularly rare because it wasn't something that happened often, and it wasn't easy to identify unless you knew exactly what to look for. Coin collectors, however, have an eye for detail, and they soon began to spot these pennies, realizing that they were looking at a truly rare find. The first step in determining the value of these 1994 pennies with errors is understanding how mint errors work in general. Mint errors are mistakes that occur during the production of coins, and they can happen for various reasons. Sometimes, coins are struck with damaged or worn-out dies, leading to blurry or doubled features. Other times, there are issues with the alignment of the dies, resulting in off-center strikes. Regardless of the specific error, the result is a coin that's different from the regular ones in circulation. And that difference can make the coin much more valuable to collectors who are looking for something unique. What makes the 1994 penny particularly interesting to collectors is that the error was rare, but not so rare that it's nearly impossible to find one. There are still some 1994 pennies with this error in circulation, and as a result, they are highly sought after by numismatists, or coin enthusiasts. But just how much could one of these pennies be worth? After all, pennies are the smallest denomination in U.S. currency, so it's hard to imagine a penny being worth anything other than 1 cent, right? Well, in the case of the 1994 penny with the double die error, these coins can be worth a lot more than their face value. In fact, the value of a 1994 penny with this error can reach up to $62,000 in some cases. That's right, a single penny, worth only 1 cent when it was minted, can now be worth a small fortune. But why? What makes these pennies so valuable? The main factor contributing to the high value of these coins is their rarity. While it's true that there are still some 1994 pennies with this error in circulation, they're not easy to find. Most people don't bother to carefully examine their pennies, and even those who do may not spot the error right away. Additionally, as more time passes and fewer of these coins remain in circulation, their scarcity only increases. This makes them more desirable to collectors who are willing to pay top dollar to add one of these rare coins to their collections. If you happen to find one of these rare 1994 pennies, it's recommended that you have it professionally appraised by a numismatic expert. These experts can help you determine whether the penny is genuine, whether it has the double die error, and what its value might be. The process of getting a coin graded involves sending it to a professional grading service, where the coin is carefully examined and assigned a grade based on its condition. The higher the grade, the higher the coin's potential value. So, to recap, what makes the 1994 penny so special? It's a coin that was minted during a time of change in the United States, featuring the familiar design of Abraham Lincoln and the Lincoln Memorial. However, due to a rare minting error, specifically, a double die error, some of these pennies are now worth thousands of dollars. The 1994 penny may have started out as just another piece of pocket change, but today, it's a prized collector's item, with some examples worth up to $62,000. If you happen to find one of these rare pennies in your change, you could be holding on to a small fortune. Up next, the 1977 1-cent penny. At first glance, it may seem like just another coin, a simple penny circulating alongside the millions of others minted each year. But what if I told you that this seemingly ordinary penny holds a secret? A secret that has turned it into one of the most coveted treasures in the world of coin collecting, fetching an impressive price on the market. To understand what makes the 1977 penny so special, let's rewind a bit. The 1970s were a time of change, not only in American culture but also in the world of coinage. The 1970s witnessed inflation, economic instability, and significant political events that marked the end of one era and the beginning of another. The U.S. Mint, during this time, was still churning out millions of pennies, many of which would become the focus of future collectors' interest. Little did the US Mint know that a particular error in 1977 would create a coin that would be worth thousands of dollars in the future. The design of the 1977 penny remains familiar. It still features the same iconic portrait of Abraham Lincoln, which had been in use since 1909. The reverse, too, still showcased the Lincoln Memorial, a design that had been in place since 1959. These elements, featuring Lincoln on the obverse and the memorial on the reverse, became a staple of the US 1-cent coin, remaining virtually unchanged for decades. But what makes this particular penny so intriguing is not its design, but an error that occurred during its production at the US Mint. To fully appreciate the rarity and value of the 1977 penny, we need to talk about minting and the often overlooked process that goes into creating these everyday coins. Every coin produced at the US Mint comes from a die, which is a metal stamp that imprints the design onto the coin blank, or planchet, when it's struck. Over time, these dies wear out, and occasionally, they become misaligned or develop imperfections, leading to errors in the coins they produce. This is exactly what happened with the 1977 penny. A small batch of these pennies was struck with a worn or damaged die, leading to a double die error. A double die error occurs when a coin is struck more than once, resulting in a noticeable doubling effect in the coin's design. For the 1977 penny, this error was most visible in the date and the inscriptions, "Liberty" and "In God We Trust." The doubling effect caused the letters and numbers to appear as if they were blurry or duplicated, making the coin stand out from the others produced that year. While double die errors aren't exceedingly rare in the world of coin collecting, the 1977 penny is particularly special due to how few of these errors exist. Only a small number of these misstruck pennies were produced, and fewer still have survived in excellent condition. Many of these pennies were circulated and worn down over time, but those that have been carefully preserved in near-perfect condition are considered rare and highly valuable. So, what makes the 1977 double die penny so appealing to collectors? The answer lies in its rarity and the sheer demand for it among numismatists, the people who specialize in the study and collection of coins. When it comes to coins, rarity is king. A coin that is rare and in great condition will almost always be in high demand, and demand is a key factor in determining its price. A typical penny from 1977 is worth exactly 1 cent, but the double die penny is an entirely different story. As time passed and the world of coin collecting evolved, the value of these rare 1977 pennies began to rise. Collectors and investors who were looking for rare and valuable coins began to hunt for the 1977 double die error. And as these rare coins were discovered and preserved, their value only grew. The 1977 double die penny has become one of the most sought-after coins in the world. For those lucky enough to possess a well-preserved example of this coin, the payoff can be extraordinary. Some of these coins have been sold at auction for impressive amounts, but the most astonishing sales have been for specimens in near-perfect condition. A particularly pristine 1977 double die penny was sold for a record-breaking price, and this coin's final value left many people in awe. Now, you may be wondering, how much could a 1977 penny with a double die error actually be worth today? If you're holding on to one of these rare coins and it's in mint condition, the answer might surprise you. The price of a well-preserved 1977 double die penny has reached an astonishing $104,000. This remarkable price is a testament to the rarity of the coin and the incredible demand among collectors. The 1977 double die penny has become a symbol of the value that lies hidden in seemingly ordinary objects. It's a perfect example of how a small, unassuming piece of currency can become a coveted treasure when combined with rarity, historical significance, and the excitement of coin collecting. So, how can you tell if you have one of these rare 1977 double die pennies? It's actually quite simple, though it requires a careful examination of the coin's details. Look closely at the date on the coin, specifically the numbers in 1977. If you see any doubling or blurred edges in the numbers, this is a strong indication that you found a double die error. The same goes for the word "liberty" and the phrase, "In God We Trust." If these letters appear doubled or misaligned, you may be holding a coin that is worth much more than just 1 cent. While most 1977 pennies are worth only their face value, if you find one with the double die error in excellent condition, it could be a game changer. Coins in higher grades, such as MS 65 or higher, can command astronomical prices, especially if they are preserved well and have been graded by a reputable coin grading service. If you've got a 1977 penny lying around, it may be worth taking a closer look. It could be the hidden treasure you've been looking for, and who knows, if you find the right one, it could be worth a jaw-dropping $104,000. The next time you sift through your change, take a moment to inspect that 1977 penny carefully. You might just be holding on to a fortune in your hand. Up next, let's talk about the 1974 1-cent penny, specifically the version with the D mint mark. At first glance, this penny might seem like just another small, copper-colored coin, easily dismissed in a jar of loose change or tossed aside as insignificant. But if you take a closer look at this seemingly ordinary penny, you might find something extraordinary, a coin that could be worth far more than just 1 cent. Let's rewind to the year 1974. It was a time of social, economic, and political change in the United States. The country was grappling with inflation, and the economy was in a rough patch. In the midst of this, the U.S. Mint continued to produce the 1-cent penny, as it had done for decades. This was a time when the iconic portrait of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner in 1909, was still gracing the obverse of the coin. On the reverse, the Lincoln Memorial had been in use since 1959. These designs were familiar, part of the fabric of American currency for over half a century. But what would make the 1974 D mint-marked penny something worth more than its simple appearance? To understand the true value of the 1974 penny, we need to first examine how coins are minted. When the U.S. Mint produces coins, they use metal dies to strike the designs onto blank planchets, the metal discs. Occasionally, errors happen during this process, and certain coins may come out of the press with imperfections or misalignments. While some of these errors are more noticeable than others, when a significant mistake occurs, it can lead to a coin becoming incredibly rare and highly collectible. This is exactly what happened with a particular batch of 1974 pennies. Among the many pennies minted that year at the Denver Mint, as indicated by the D mint mark, a small number of coins were struck with a double die error. This type of error occurs when a coin is struck more than once, and the second strike happens slightly off-center, resulting in a doubling effect on certain features of the coin's design. In the case of the 1974 penny, the doubling was most noticeable on the date, 1974, and the inscription, Liberty. These areas showed a clear, visible doubling of the numbers and letters, creating a distinctive appearance that set these coins apart from the rest. Now, it's important to understand that not all 1974 pennies have this error. The double die variety is rare, and only a limited number of 1974 D pennies with this particular error were produced. Many of these coins were circulated and became worn down over time, but those that have been well preserved are considered gems in the world of coin collecting. The rarity of these pennies, coupled with the fact that they are relatively easy to identify due to the clear doubling effect, has made them highly sought after by collectors. For coin collectors, rarity is one of the most important factors that determine a coin's value. And in the case of the 1974 D double die penny, the rarity of this error, combined with the high demand among collectors, has made these coins some of the most valuable pennies in the world. Over the years, as more and more collectors sought out these rare specimens, the price of these pennies began to rise. What was once a penny worth just 1 cent slowly transformed into a highly valuable piece of history. The value of a 1974 D double die penny can vary depending on several factors. The condition of the coin plays a crucial role. Coins that are well preserved and have sharp details will always be worth more than those that are worn or damaged. But rarity, too, plays an essential role in determining a coin's worth. Since so few of these double die pennies exist in excellent condition, the demand for them has driven their prices up. But what exactly makes a 1974 D double die penny worth so much? As mentioned, the doubling effect on the date and the word Liberty is the hallmark of this rare coin. To spot this error, all you have to do is closely examine the coin. If you see a noticeable doubling effect, particularly on the numbers in 1974 or the word Liberty, you may have a double die penny on your hands. While the error might not be immediately obvious to the casual observer, those with a trained eye can spot it with ease. Coin collectors and investors alike have been on the lookout for these rare double die pennies for decades, and as time has passed, the value of these coins has continued to rise. The 1974 D double die penny has become one of the most sought after coins among collectors, and for good reason. it represents a rare, significant error in the minting process that resulted in a coin that was never meant to be. Its value has grown over time, and the market for these coins has become increasingly competitive. So, how much could a 1974 double die penny actually be worth today? You might be surprised to learn that these rare pennies can command some extraordinary prices. Coins in mint condition, particularly those graded highly by professional coin grading services, can sell for a significant amount. The highest recorded sale of a 1974 double die penny reached an impressive $114,000. This extraordinary value is a testament to the rarity of the coin and the high demand among collectors. When you think about it, it's fascinating to consider how a simple mistake during the minting process could lead to a coin that is worth more than many people's homes. If you happen to find one of these rare 1974 double die pennies in your collection or in your spare change, it could be worth a small fortune.